So today I am making Weight Watchers Asian inspired vegetable soup. It's called. I got the recipe off eSource and it's 0 pro points per serving, and you should get 12 servings out of what you make. Now, I have doubled the ingredients, but when I talk about the ingredients, I'm just going to read out what the recipe says, but just take into account I've doubled it because I'm going to make a lot of soup, put them in individual bags, and then freeze them, so then I have a portion of soup ready that I can just take out the freezer and have. So, the first ingredient is, well, I've made up in here, in my saucepan, my big giant saucepan, is 1440 mils of vegetable stock, which I just used vegetable stock cubes. And into that I'm going to, the recipe says 140 grams of pak choy. Now I couldn't find pak choy in the supermarket, so what I did was chopped up half a Savoy cabbage. It should do pretty much a similar job. I'm just going to add that into my stock. And the next ingredient is 150 grams of Chinese cabbage. Now I got Chinese leaf, which I think is the same thing, so I'm going to pop that in. And then it says 3 cloves of garlic. Squash all that down. Now obviously I said before I love garlics, and also I've doubled the recipe, so I've got 6 here. Just going to squeeze this straight in, so it's all squeezed in. My really old garlic press. I think my mum had this before I was even born. Still works though. Now, it took me about 15 to 20 minutes to prepare all the vegetables, get them all chopped up, into these bowls. So I'd give yourself sort of 15-20 minutes just to get everything ready. And the recipe says it only takes 10 minutes to cook, but because I've used sort of normal Savoy cabbage, I think it will probably take a little longer because it's a bit thicker. So there we are, that's the garlic. Next is 20 grams of grated ginger. Now I'm not particularly good at, I couldn't get it to grate, it's too fibrey, so I chopped it up into tiny little pieces there. So hopefully that's okay. I didn't add too much because it can be a bit spicy. Then it says 100 grams of oyster mushrooms. Now I don't like oyster mushrooms, so I'm leaving them out. Then 100 grams of spring onions, so I'm going to add them in. Next is 140 grams of water chestnuts sliced in a tin. Now the only ones I could find were these ones, but they came whole. So I've had to take them out and chop them up, but it didn't take more than a couple of minutes. So there they are. Put them in. And because I'm doubling the recipe, I should have used 2 tins, but I only bought one, so never mind. Next is 1 red pepper thinly sliced. So I've got my 2 chopped up here. Put them in. Now one extra ingredient rather, is I've got some baby sweet corn and I've chopped them up. Now I happen to have them in the fridge and I thought that would go, so they're also 0 points. I'm not adding any points with putting these in as well. Now it says to cook all this up for about 8 minutes, but I'll probably do it for about 15. And then before it's finished you add in some bean sprouts. They look like this. And some mange too, which look like this. They're like flat beans. So, but first off we get cooking. Cook this down, then just before it's done I'll throw these in, and then you add 2 tablespoons of soy sauce and some coriander. Now I don't have any coriander and I don't particularly like it, so I don't mind missing that out. So I'm just going to get this boiling and I'll come back to you when it's almost done. Right, the soup has been cooking for about 10 to 15 minutes. I've checked all the vegetables, they're definitely cooked. And about 5 minutes ago I added in the mange tout and the bean sprouts, and they're all nicely cooked. And I've added 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. I get the reduced salt soy sauce because I'm watching my salt. And I've added that in. And because you're supposed to add coriander in now, but I don't really like it and I don't have any, I add, because the coriander adds a bit of spice, so I added just about a teaspoon of this Thai 7 spice, just to give it a bit of a kick. You could add, if you really like spicy foods, you could add like chilies or anything like that, make it, you know, nice and spicy. I've tried it, it tastes amazing. So yeah, it's all done. There you go, you can have a better look at it now. I think it looks very authentic for Asian inspired soup. Now usually I would blend half my soup, but as it's Asian inspired, this is very much how they have it, in a sort of a watery broth with all the vegetables in. So I'm just gonna, I know that 2 of these ladles is a serving in a bowl. Whoa, steamy. Steamed up the camera. And there we are. And that's 0 points. And it looks absolutely delicious. And I'm going to serve all the... I'm going to let it cool down first. But then I'm going to dish this up into little plastic Tupperware boxes and put them in the freezer. And then I have 0 point soup available whenever I want. So it's a great idea to have stuff in the freezer when you're really hungry and you've either run out of points and you have to eat something, you're so hungry, or you know, you're watching what you're eating. It's a great thing to have if you get home from work and you're tired and you don't feel like cooking. Just pull it out the freezer, microwave it, heat it up, and it's done. So there we are. Now I'm going to go and eat my bowl of soup, and I'll speak to you guys later. Bye!